All right, hello class. I am back with another ELA video for you, and we're going to be talking about context clues. So let's jump right on in. All right, so when we talk about context clues, this is definitely something that we have covered in class. Context clues is very important because in many cases you would not be able to go and grab a dictionary in helping you to establish what words mean when you come across a word that you don't know in a story or something that you're reading, an informational text or something like that. So it's important that you play word detectives in and using context clues within the text that gives you certain hints to help you establish or to help you understand what a word means without necessarily having to even know how the word is pronounced or even knowing, have heard of the word or even having to go get a dictionary. You can use it in what's in the text to kind of help you understand it, and in that way you can have a better understanding about your reading. So one of those clues or one of those ways in which we can find clues is looking at the sentence that, and let me say this too, when you're looking for context clues, you're not necessarily always looking for the sentence right after or before that word. You have to really look in the text and make connections as to what's being said in the text so that you can then kind of pair it with what word you don't know so that it makes more sense to you. And you can actually define the word based on the clues around it and inside of that paragraph, not just those that are in front or behind the actual word itself. Because look at this one. In this case, the word that's in front of it is the. So if I only look at that, then I wouldn't know, right? So I have to look all around throughout that paragraph to see if there's anything that helps me understand what this word means. So one way in which we can look for those things is looking for words that establish an actual definition within the text. The marsh or swamp was a wet and muggy place. Okay, so it's telling you that a marsh was a wet and muggy place. Like, that's what a marsh is. So I don't have to really look no further because it told me the definition right there. But if I didn't know what a marsh was, most of you probably do, but if I didn't know what a marsh was, I don't need to get up and go find a dictionary now, do I? I know that it's a wet and muggy place, regardless of if I said it out loud right, if I pronounced it right, if I spell it right. I know what it means now because the context clues has told me that it's a wet, muggy place. Now, we talked about word parts a lot in class as well. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but we have definitely had some skill practice on understanding word parts because our language comes from so many different languages, a modge podge of languages. We have French, we have Spanish, we have Italian, we have mixtures of Greek, all different types of languages within our language that we call English. So those prefixes and suffixes and root words, they stem from those other languages and they have meaning too. Like, for example, if a word says helpful and I didn't know what helpful means, I can break that word down. I know what help is and I know what full is. Full means you're full of something, right? So when I put those two words together, you're helpful, that means you're full of help. I'm sorry, full of help, meaning that you are willing to help and you're always there, right? Or rewrite. I understand that the prefix re means to do again. So if I put that together based on the definition, I will understand that if I need to rewrite something, that means I need to do it again, okay? So that's one way also that we can look for context clues to help us establish a word we don't know. Another way is using examples. A lot of times they'll give you examples of a word along, within that sentence that helps you establish what that actual word that you don't know is. So, for example, A device such as a phone or an MP3 player can be expensive. So we understand a device is a phone. A phone is a device. We understand a MP3 player is a device, and a device can be a MP3 player. So here we have examples that are listed out to us so that we can say, oh, I know what a phone is. So a phone must be a device. Okay, interesting. So that means if a phone is a device and the MP3 player is a device, then my computer must be a device and my tablet must be a device. And I start making more connections like that. And that helps, those examples help us then understand more about what the word device means. Another form of establishing the meaning of the word is looking at the opposite, the antonym. Antonym means opposite. If you cannot remember which is your opposite and your same, just think about anti. Anti is is like when you say antibacterial, that means it's against bacteria. So it is the opposite of bacteria, right? So when you think about antonyms, then you think about, okay, it's the opposite. The meaning of the word is opposite to whatever is being compared to, right? So take a look at this example here. It says she knew the cup wasn't fragile when she felt its sturdy handle and thick sides. So what does fragile mean? So most of you probably have heard of fragile, but if you haven't, then you would think to yourself, okay. So when she felt its sturdy handle and thick sides, then that means that it couldn't break as easy. A cup couldn't break as easy if it had sturdy handles and thick sides, right? But so then what does fragile mean? So if it wasn't fragile, but it had a sturdy handle and thick sides, that means fragile must be the opposite of that. Therefore, fragile must be not sturdy, not able to handle thick sides, or it's fragile must mean easily broken, right? So when we think about how antonyms use, we understand that sturdy is the direct opposite from fragile. And she's saying her cup wasn't fragile because it was sturdy. So we understand that fragile must then mean not sturdy, right? Now, synonyms are also used in a similar way, in which the word, like for example, swiftly, is used in a comparison way, but it's using it to show similarity, that these words are actually similar to each other. The fox raced swiftly through the trees and flew out of sight. So if we think about something flying out of sight, that means they must have moved quickly. So swiftly must mean quickly or moved really fast or what have you, right? So I'm going to go to the next slide, but if you need to pause here just to kind of jot this down, I highly recommend notes. Anytime anchor chart similar to this one goes on the board, students know that it's note-taking time. So anytime you come to my lessons on my YouTube channel, be sure you have paper and pencil and ready to take some notes or jot down some problems, okay? All right, so let's take a look at a couple of practice sentences here. So a definition would look like, let me read it from the beginning. Using context clues. You can use context clues to figure out the meaning of an unfamiliar word. The chart below gives examples of different types of context clues. So you have definition, like we just talked about, which is giving you the definition directly. Superfoods or natural foods that may prevent disease have become popular. So superfoods must prevent disease, right? So we have to understand that they gave us a direct definition there that superfoods are natural foods that present disease. Okay. Cause and effect. Cause and effect can be a little tricky in identifying, but if you understand what a cause is, then you understand that every cause has an effect. So in this case, we have the example, some superfoods such as blueberries and red beans contain antioxidants. These can help remove harmful substances from the human body. So if the blueberries can remove harmful substances from the body, antioxidant must mean what? That we're dealing with something that we eat that naturally removes the harmful substance from our body. Okay. The easiest, I would say, would be the comparison. Okay. When you're comparing two things together, whatever or two situations, and you're comparing two different words so that you can be able to establish the meaning of one of those words based on their similarity, how they're similar, okay, or how they're different, okay. Some experts look dubiously on claims about seafood, but other experts believe strongly that these foods can improve health. Okay? So if some experts look at it dubiously, far as superfoods go, but others believe strongly, then what does dubiously must mean? Because if it's saying that others actually believe strongly about it, then those that don't believe strongly about it must think it's what? Dubious, right? So that's how we look at that. You have to ask yourself questions in order to answer your questions. Staring off into space or tapping your pencil or anything like that doesn't necessarily go along with asking yourself questions. It doesn't go along with being able to process this information through a series of questioning in your mind so that you can be able to really brainstorm on what your answer is going to be. So now I'm going to continue on and just make sure you are attentive so that you understand how to identify these words, because you're going to get some practice right after this. Context clues can also help you figure out words with more than one meaning. For example, the table below has two sentences with the word source. What does source mean in each sentence? You can use the underlined context clues to figure out which meaning of source is being used. Oops. Okay. So in the first sentence here, it says choosing high sugar sugar drinks can be a source of health problems. A source of health problems. Okay. So how is source being used here? A problem has a cause, therefore the source of a problem is its cause. Okay? The cause of something is the definition here. Let's look at sentence 2. The website, myplate.gov, is a source of facts about food choices. A problem has a cause, therefore the source of the problem is its cause. I'm sorry. Yes, the source of I read that one. So number 2 says, A website can have information such as facts. Therefore, a source is something that gives information. So our definition in there is something that gives information. So now you have a couple practice problems here in which you're going to be reading these short little paragraphs, and you're going to be establishing what the actual context clue is telling us. Use the context clues to identify the meaning for 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we will reconvene on this meeting. On this assignment in our Friday meeting and go over these questions further. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. Only questions about my slides need to go in the comment section. If you have any other questions about your schedule, about your day, about tomorrow, what's going on, Miss Daniels, if you have any of those types of questions, then feel free to just hit me up on my line, okay? Other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.